The Marines have a saying: be polite, be professional, and have a plan to kill every person you meet. My experience in the Marine Corps gave me an attitude adjustment in which they showed me that I can do anything if I can stay focused and get the proper attitude. So with that attitude, I was able to take my Vietnam experience and use it as a learning experience. You add that to my training SWAT teams as an experience on when you're outnumbered and outgunned, that makes a lot of difference. And with that experience, I was able to change my attitude again. So the attitude is important in a survival situation. You don't want to panic. You don't want to get excited. What you want is a clear understanding of the situation. That's the first thing. The next thing, you have to have a plan on what it is that you're going to do to correct the situation. Then you need to stay focused on what it is that your plan was based on, and don't get misdirected on that. Stay focused on your plan, and that will get you through any situation at all. So if it's a one-on-one situation, I would probably use a non-lethal method. But this method may cause legal problems. If so, I just pay the fine and just go on. Don't worry about it. Right there, I've already shown myself that I've got the abilities to do what I have to do in the situation. If the threat is a multiple threat, 2, 3, maybe 4, now that's a little bit different than a one-on-one situation. One-on-one, he may be letting off steam. But if it's more than one, if he's got to bring his friends into the situation, that means he's got support. That means I've got multiple threats. That brings my danger area even stronger. In other words, I'll put up with less crap when there's multiples of them than there is one. If it's one, I'll let them blow off steam. If it's more than one, I'm already ready for action. Just as they approach, there won't be no steam letting off. If I'm approached by more than one, I am ready to handle the threat. Now, it's not always necessary to use lethal force. That's why I suggest you find a course of action that you can use which is non-lethal. Different strikes and different moves. This is why I personally don't teach any of this stuff in my classes. It takes time to learn all this stuff. I don't have that much time when I'm with people. So what I have to work with is the mental part, and I lead them to where they need to go. And when it comes to non-lethal, and lethal, but I'm talking about non-lethal, you do need to get some lessons from someplace, learn and practice. It's not necessary to have a bunch. I've got a whole mess of non-lethal, different things I can do. They're all painful. Some are more painful than others. So I have to make a decision on which level I want to do, and that's basically the same thing you're going to have to do, is learn enough to take care of the situation. And you don't need any more, just need to apply what you have to apply to stop the threat in a non-lethal situation. When it's multiple threats, that's usually the first thought that comes to my mind is lethal. Because when there's multiples of them, I don't have as much time to put on a show for anybody. So I need to work quick and get the job done. So you need to also have some lethal methods of taking care of yourself. because there will be times when non-lethal isn't even an option. If you're in a dark street and multiple threats come at you, that's not the time to do any Bruce Lee stuff. That is the time to do what you have to do. And you need to have your plan ahead of time. All you need to know is which plan you're going to put into action. And then once you figure out that, you just wait for the time to go into action. You have a safe zone, an area around you that is your area. This area guarantees your safety. When someone enters this area, it puts your safety in jeopardy. And this area, to most people, runs about 1.5 to 2 feet around them. And for sure, on me, I will not allow anyone within this 1.5 to 2 foot area. I measure it by a handshake. In other words, when you're close enough that I can shake your hand, that means you've entered my safe zone. Okay, now, once you enter my safe zone, I can give you a handshake which tells you it's okay to enter my safe zone, or I will strike, because that same safe zone is the zone that I've got total control of. So I'm either going to allow you in with a handshake or I will strike. So my means of protecting my area is about 1.5 to 2 foot all around me. So remember that when you approach someone, you don't get any closer than that until you get the body language that says it's okay. And in my case, my hand will go out as a shaking hands. And if you're planning on sticking a weapon out at me, I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my hand out. Now you've got a choice. You put the weapon away or you stay out of my safe zone. The best thing for self-defense is when your threat is in zone 3, in other words, a long ways away, the time for you is to get out of the area. If you're not in the area, then you will not be threatened. So that's the very best. But there's times that you can't get out of the area. And when that time comes, you have to be focused on your plan and be ready to go. Have your plan. All you're doing is waiting for the time to initiate your plan. And that is in zone 1. Once they enter your zone 1, all rules are out. You have to do what you have to do to get through the next few seconds. My safe zone is the number 1 zone. Now, by the time you as the threat are in number 3 or number 2 zone, in other words, you're far enough away from me, you cannot harm me. When you're in that zone, that is the time I'm determining if you may or may not be a threat. That is also the time I will be arming myself. If I see this is going to be a lethal situation, like in other words, there's multiples of you coming towards me, and then I will go on and arm myself at that time. I will not show you my arms. I will never show my weapons until the time to use it. So, in other words, as long as you stay far enough away and you act properly, in other words, you don't act like a threat, I will not show you my weapons. That's why my concealed carry and on firearms and my other type of weapons are hidden so much that people don't even realize how much danger they're in at the time. A threat of up to 4 or 5, that is probably about the maximum you can handle at one time, and the maximum that they can come at you at one time. Even if it turns out to be 10, 12, 15, 20, 4 or 5 maximum can be coming towards you at one time. So in other words, if you can be proficient at 3 to 5 in a short amount of time, however more there are after that will not be the problem. Once you get past the first 3 to 5, the attitude of the rest will not be the same as what it was when they first approached you. When the time comes to arm yourself, be able to arm yourself in a way where it doesn't distract or warn others that you are arming yourself. It doesn't make it, for me, it doesn't make any difference if you can see my hands or you don't see my hands. It doesn't make any difference. If my hands are in your view, if they're up in the air, such as this, I am ready to make contact. And if you don't see my arms, they're going to be down to my side or maybe a little bit towards my back, in which I will be armed at that time. It's the same thing if I bring my arms up like this. Same thing. I'm still armed and ready for combat. Anytime you can see my hands, you're in danger, and if you can't see my hands, you're in danger. So you need to be able to figure out your plans on how to do this, because this is what's going to ensure your safety. Once you have a plan, it will be apparent that you do have a plan. In other words, there's nothing wrong with being scared, but when you're scared and you have a plan, your threat will realize you do have a plan. Even though you are scared, they do know you have a plan, and more than likely they will back off. If not, you just start your plan into action. One thing I do not do, and that is to get all huffy and puffy and get mouthy. I'm not worried about making eye contact. I'm not looking to intimidate someone. If I'm looking to intimidate someone, that's all I want to do is intimidate them. I'm not looking for extreme danger. But at the same time, when someone comes to me and they start using intimidation, they have to watch out, because if they cross the line, because I will be polite and try to back off. But if they cross the line where this intimidation gives me the idea that it's a threat, I will take action. And it will be really quick, and I will have the advantage. I strike when I have the advantage. And when you are busy looking me in the face, puffing yourself up, that is the time when I have the advantage.